So, thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
We are here to talk all things partners, communities, and customers today. It's fair to say that
That's a broad scope.
That is a broad scope, to be fair. It's fair to say that 2023 was a crazy year. We had lots of stuff going on, and I'm sure during the course of this podcast we'll get into it a little bit more. But I kind of want to start with, as a service business, we're all about our people, right? Because we can't sell. We're not selling things. We're selling people and service. So I kind of want to get your kind of thoughts on what the people mean to us or you specifically.
Great question to start. Simple answer is everything. We're 100 years old this year as a business, and I think our partners, as we refer to them, have been at the core of everything we stand for a century. Excuse me, I have said that. Got a bit of a lagging cold, but yeah, and that's never changed. And knowing me personally, and as I know you do as well, knowing the family, that's something that will always be at front and center for us as a business. And it ultimately, we know if we have happy partners, generally they're motivated to support our customers, to drive what's right, as we often say, and stand by. And again, it is at the core of everything we do and stand for.
So obviously it's easy to say it, in all fairness, right?
It's reflected in our purpose as well, remember. Our purpose, if I summarise it briefly, is to provide rewarding careers and then lives for our partners and their families, ultimately. We don't subscribe to the traditional corporate mission statements and everything else. It's genuine, it's authentic. That's who we are.
What kind of things do we do that kind of help drive that purpose?
For me, the most important thing we do is how we treat people every day. Yes, rewards, be that compensation, bonuses, benefits, are all important. If you think about that, I look at that as more of a health measure within a business, that you're doing these things. People have an expectation around those, let's be candid as well. But so, and we do lean in there very much. We, as you will know, we often provide ad hoc bonuses that people aren't expecting, to thank them for going above and beyond and what have you. We do that at individual levels. We do that at global levels even at times. But it is more about how we treat people every day. One of the greatest things we have, I honestly believe, is we have an Achievers platform where every partner, every one of our 6,000, soon to be 8,000 or so partners, can recognise great work. And it doesn't have to be necessarily on the job work.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be something as simple as holding a door open for someone.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen as much as it should do probably in today's world.
We all get busy.
Exactly. So I think, it's a way for them to recognise people. Again, there are some monetary elements to that within that platform, but there's also just saying thank you as well, which is equally, and sometimes often more powerful.
So do you think that, how influential do you think our people have been with the growth and success of the organisation?
Wholly influential. I mean, we wouldn't have had the successes we've had over the last few years without them. I mean, they've driven everything. I think the role that, whether it's myself or the broader leadership team, is, yes, obviously we have a coordination role and everything, but it doesn't happen without the partners more broadly doing what they do. We've had, as you say, a crazy year, an incredibly exciting, successful year in 2023, and much more of that to come for sure. But it's driven by all of the partners. Yeah, there's no one individual, no one manager, no one leader that is driving that.
Yeah,
it's everyone.
So obviously we've said it already, having a crazy year and stuff like that, and it probably remiss of me to say that maybe people think that we won a large contract last year. Does that mean that's it for growth? We're now just stabilising?
Absolutely not, no. That significant win, let's not show it was a significant win. And there won't be necessarily other wins of that scale. But it really just helped us accelerate by 12, 18 months, kind of the ambition that we had anyway. But we're not taking our foot off the gas, very much so. We are on a growth journey. We've had incredible success over the last few years, and we want to continue to accelerate. We're investing in partners across our organisation, be that training and development of those that are in our business today, investing a lot more. We did a lot more of that last year than we'd done previously, and we're committed to doing more this year.
Yeah.
But we're also hiring a lot more people. I mean, we doubled the size of our organisation last year by necessity because of, obviously, the success with the BT Award. But we're continuing to hire, and particularly in the business development sales area as well. There are more and more customers or potential customers, prospects, coming to us proactively now, which is wonderful. We actually need more people to be able to talk to them, which is a fantastic position to be in, of course. I mean, you've heard me say this many times. Ultimately, we have to earn their business.
Yeah.
But if we're not engaged with them, we're not talking to them, we can't do that.
And again, it leads to the people, right? Because as a service organisation, it's the people we put in front of them. And so we won a large customer. Some people would say that we have run out of capacity to be able to grow any bigger. Is that a fair assessment, or are we able to continue to grow?
Absolutely, absolutely we are. And I accept that some may perceive it to be the case.
Yeah.
The recent successes, one specific success, BT naturally, is so big that it does provide even us with a cause for reflection a little bit. And we've been having those reflections for the last 12, 18 months. This isn't something that was thrust upon us. This has been a 2-year journey, or it was a 2-year journey to close the BT deal, and a year of transition, as I think is commonly understood. So we have made investments in people along that journey as well, with an eye on that coming. We've hired several executive leaders, which have been a fantastic addition to our business. We've hired numerous, not only another 100 or so partners to support BT, but numerous other partners across the business. And we will continue to scale. The new office has the capacity. We, acquired that office for that specific reason. It gave us the capacity to grow further and accelerate that growth again. And yeah, absolutely, we're full steam ahead. This is our agenda now. The key thing for us, and I think perhaps what really is at the nub of that question from a customer's lens, outside in view, is with our rapid growth, are we still able to treat our incumbent, more tenured customers perhaps with the same care, love, etc.
That's what I was trying to get at, but being nice about it.
as what we've always been very proud of, and that remains our North Star. And only the way I look at it, actually, it enables us to, and I've said this before in print or what have you, we're accelerating investments that we always had planned, and we're now bringing many of those forward, or several of them at least, which will only help us serve our entire customer base. And all customers are equally important, and that's never going to change.
Yeah.
We're not a business,
that's fine,
we're not a business that perhaps some others out in the market have been or are still today maybe. I'm not going to be disparaging to any of our competitors, but I think it's understood there are certain businesses that will lean in and focus very much on one customer. All customers are important to us. And
I think being 100 years old, I think we've got a very good gauge of how to do that, right? So
and I think maybe I'm setting you up for another question now, but a part of that is our culture. I know we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I make no apologies for that because it's so important to us. The one thing we have to be mindful of as we scale at such pace is maintaining that culture. That is not easy. And particularly when, we're delighted, excited, we've opened up a new office in Birmingham, 100 plus, partners there. The significant majority of those are new to Holman.
Yeah.
And a culture doesn't happen overnight. We're 100 years old, and Chippenham's been, 20 years or so, and 12 or so years since the acquisition by Holman. Culture takes time. So it's really important, and one of the core focuses for us right now and forevermore, but certainly now, is to infuse the culture that we are so proud of and is really a differentiator for us and our partners, importantly, into the new location. But not do that instead of continuing to evolve the culture in Chippenham. It's
it's additive.
Absolutely. And that's where, rightly, a lot of my time now and all of the leadership team at whatever level have a big focus on spending a lot of time, because that's really important to us.
So, of course, what that's also done, and I know this is a cornerstone of what we do, is looking after the communities, our communities. And with the expansion of those and all that kind of stuff, that means there's a lot more communities. What is it? Can you kind of expand on what we do for the communities, or how we look after them, or what your focus is from a managing director perspective to ensure that we support those in the areas that we operate and where our customers do?
Sure, yeah, great question. And this is it's something that's globally is something we do consistently in all of the geographies in which we operate. And this starts from Mindy and Mr. Holman prior to her, and for generations. And we are always committed to investing in our local communities. And we set aside every year, a portion of our operating profit to just do that, to just support local communities in which we work. And there are no limitations, despite we set aside X amount of dollars, there are no limitations on what we do. I mean, this year we went to Africa and helped build a library there, which I know was amazing for those that our partners that went and were part of that journey. Life-changing, not only for the individuals, the children that we're impacting, but for the people that actually had the opportunity to go. So we do very, more, if you like, perhaps grand, or have grand activities perhaps, but we also do the real subtle little things that really do make a difference at a local level.
Can you give us some examples or things that we do as an organisation from a local perspective?
Local, I mean, it's global, and we've talked about that, some examples there. But locally, just recently before Christmas, you were there. We spent a bit of time at Springboard School in Chippenham, locally here, and just spending time with those children that have more needs than others. Yeah. Because of their condition, various conditions, what have you. It was just so inspiring, quite honestly. And, just making even the slightest investment, be that, and, there's been cash investments there. But one of the ones I know, we smile about now is, and I walked by earlier on, and there's 40 cans or so of shaving foam that are there because the school asked for one of the things we could do, which is a little expensive, is provide shaving foam, because the children love playing with it and doing lots of creative things with it. So the fact we can now just do that whenever we want to, and it's little things like that that make a difference as well. Not only the grander gestures and things, which are important, and make a huge difference perhaps, but these things make a real difference as well. And I think so. That's here locally in Birmingham. Given we've only been in the office a quarter now or so, what I've said to all the team up there at a town hall at the back end of the year, again, you were there, was, give us your ideas. Because what we'd love to do and what we're very proud of is getting engaged in local community or local charitable, activities or whatever they may be. And on that point, us being involved, it's not just about money, it's about our time as well. It's not just financial commitment. I mean, they are important, of course they are, but providing our time. But we've asked all the partners in Birmingham, tell us, what's important to you? And so many people, don't they? You and I talk about this from a personal level as well. We all have charities that are important to us for various personal reasons, and we want to hear about those. We'd love to go and help and assist with those if we can as well.
And I think that's from my perspective, and I've been here a long time, and seeing the ability for a business to take something that's close to their heart and kind of take that on board themselves, I think is incredible, and is what kind of makes our culture great from my perspective.
Well, I'll fall on my sword a little bit because, Darren asked me, one of our partners here, Darren, asked me literally just before Christmas at our Christmas party, if I'd be willing to run the Bath Half Marathon
Yeah.
in March. And I said, have you looked at me recently? Do you think I'm really ready to do that? And that again was for Springboard.
Yeah.
And I had to be honest and with myself, not only him, and say, Darren, I'm not going to be ready to do a half marathon in March. If it was November, maybe, but certainly not March. But it's about getting involved.
Yeah.
So now I had to remove myself from that one for health reasons. And in fact, I did ask my, joking aside, I did ask my wife, or tell my wife that Darren had mentioned that, and she just laughed and said, he clearly doesn't know you well enough yet.
So we've talked a lot about partners and stuff like that, and it's amazing, and we know the importance of the people because we've kind of discussed that. But what does that mean for our customers? What does looking after our people mean, and what can our customers either look forward to, or what kind of things do you think are coming? They could be happening in 2024 that would be of great influence.
I mean, our partners engage with our customers every day, numerous times of day, of the day, be that on the call center and our driver care team, liaising with the drivers, and liaising at all different various levels within our customers' environments. So every interaction is really important, and every interaction leaves an indelible mark on a customer. Yeah. So I think that's really important always, to think about every engagement is critical. We all know, when you ring up, it gets through to a call center, which is common. That first immediate, reaction.
Yeah.
You kind of, your subconscious mind maybe, whatever, but you kind of think, well, how's this call going to go? So that's really important. All those engagements are really important. But equally, so I touched on it earlier on, we are going to be accelerating some investments. I'll come to those in a minute. But equally, we want to listen to what our customers want. And with all of our engagements, we want all of our partners to be, having a deep understanding of what our customers' needs are. So we can actually make sure that where we're investing is fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Now, we can't be all things to all customers, but if we get enough input to those, it absolutely can and will influence where we are investing. Be that in resources, be that in technology, whatever. You mentioned some examples. So we have now developed we had one previously, but a much more advanced new driver app.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I would of course say this, but having looked at many others across the market and had customer feedback on others, I think it's the best in the industry without question. We've spent 3 or 4 months now really road testing that, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And we're going to be rolling that out to other customers across the rest of the year. So that will make a material difference to our customers, because it enables them to interact with us far more seamlessly, far more efficiently. Most of our commercial customers don't want to be on the phone to us.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil, right?
Yeah, they have to pick up a phone to us.
Yeah.
They don't want to pick up a phone to us. I mean, I don't want their car to have an issue in any way,
Yeah.
but inevitably it does. They don't, and they can actually self-book. They can do it, and they can do it at their own time and all these sorts of things. So we're making it a lot more easy for them to work with us, and that's really important, because their business's goals is that those drivers are actually doing the work that they're there to do. It's not to be on the phone to Holman.
Yeah, generally those vehicles are a means to an end, right? The thing they're carrying, or the person that's driving it,
Excuse me.
is the revenue generator. And
So our job is to make the experience of engaging with Holman seamless, easy, and if it can be zero touch, that's not going to always be the case, clearly.
Yeah.
But if it can be zero touch, they're delighted. They're delighted. But when we do have the touch or the need for touch, then it's that experience and the learnings that we always take from those engagements, which are important.
And it goes back to that stuff, right? Putting people in a position to win. So we give them the right tools. We give them the training opportunities. We give them the opportunity to have a voice internally. Absolutely. To understand how we can get better.
And, so I mentioned the app, EV, we've been talking about EV for years, haven't we? We, again, publicly have said, we've intentionally had a bit of a step back over several years now. We're going full steam ahead in the US. We've learned a lot there. And we're going to be really investing both resources, technology, solutions over the coming 12, 24 months and beyond in that space, and alternative fuels generally, with a focus on EV initially. And again, though, doing that with our customers.
Yeah.
What is it they're looking for? There's so many, kind of more, shall I say, respectfully, kind of more consulting type offerings out there. Let's get into the weeds, understand the data, simulate their customers' data to understand what is it you really need, and then look at the solutions that are fit for purpose for our customers. And they will differ depending on the customer.
I think it's true.
There's no one size fits all.
There is no A/B
No.
journey, right? And I think it's looking at that wider element of sustainability above kind of just electric vehicles or
absolutely,
alternative fuels. It's how can we help them deliver a sustainable fleet for today and for the future.
Sure. And, some of our customers are more ready now to embark on that. Just some are on that journey. Many of our customers are already on that journey. And some are ready to go now, some aren't. And with those particularly, it's understanding what are their concerns? How can we help them? And many of our customers have made, quite significant commitments, to their shareholders, to their board around timings and what have you. And, that gets a lot of attention and creates a lot of focus. So it's our job to help them on that journey. But not, yes, we want to advise them. We want to provide them with options, but we can only do it when we listen. And we truly have a deep understanding of what problem it is. Not problem, what is it they're trying to solve?
That challenge.
Where's the value that they can derive from that? And how can we help them to realise that value?
Yeah, I say it quite a lot. And I think it sums up what you're saying is it's listening to understand rather than listening to respond.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Great way of
not
putting
just about okay, we've got to do it. It's about, and it does go back to what you've said about our partners and our customers, is that the number one thing is we have to listen to understand to be able to deliver a solution that works for them.
Which is, from a partner's lens specifically, we're not alone in this, but we put a lot of emphasis on our Great Places to Work survey every year.
Yeah.
And that is an unfiltered, tool, program by which our partners can give us totally unfiltered, anonymous feedback and be as candid as they wish. And it always amazes me. We're incredibly proud, and as we should be, we have fantastic feedback.
Yeah.
Generally. There are always the obvious questions where people aren't perhaps as happy as we'd like them to be.
But you want those, right? And without it kind of defeats...
Hey, let's be honest, everyone wants to be paid more. Paid more and probably work a bit less. I mean, everyone wants that, don't they?
Yeah, that's the ideal.
But no, in all seriousness, the feedback is generally very, very good. But it's a great opportunity for us again to listen, because we get unfiltered, anonymous feedback where they can share anything with us. And I personally, I know all senior leaders across the business globally read every single comment. Free text comment. We obviously look at all the data points and the feedback, but we look at every free text comment that comes in as well. And we learn a lot from those, and then we have actions on the back of that to hopefully drive the right outcomes that our employees, partners are looking for. So it's always about listening. That's the 2 ears, 1 mouth scenario, isn't it? It's always about listening.
So it's fair to say that we're all about our partners. Incredible. We're about building culture. We've still got an opportunity to continue to grow and to deliver fantastic service. And there's some really exciting things in the pipeline. 2023 has been a great year and well publicised. 2024 is just 2023 in theory is the catalyst for 2024. We're going to continue to get better, elevate, move the needle, all of those great things. But just before we finish, I guess, I just want to ask you, we've got our tagline for Holman is driving what's right. And I'd really like to understand what kind of that means for you.
It's really simple. It's doing the right thing by our partners and our customers. That's it. It's not more complex than that to me.
That's perfect. And then just before we go, you'll see there's a bookcase there. We like to...
Yes, well, you have kind of pre-warned me about this.
Yeah,
so.
I did, yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have anything with
if
me.
If you rock up with that, nothing. It's going to be embarrassing for everyone. And what we do is we ask you to bring something that means something to you, and it will live on the shelf forevermore. So what have you brought?
It's quite big, sorry.
And why? Well, that's fine. It will look massive in my hands, to be fair.
So I have, this is my dream car.
Okay.
Okay. So, which is quite apt given we're a automotive services business. But it's Ferrari F40. You're probably going to ask me why a Ferrari F40.
100%.
I imagine. Yeah. So it's they're 36 years old, I think now. Widely regarded as Enzo's last masterpiece.
Right.
It was the first, and there is a personal story that I'll share very quickly, but it was the first 200 mile an hour plus road going car. No power steering, no ABS, no door seals, nothing. I mean, it's crude in the realest sense, but the look of it, the noise that the V8 generates and what have you, is just immense. And I fell in love with these before I was married. My girlfriend of the time and I were fortunate enough to go on a road trip to Le Mans, to the Le Mans Classic.
Amazing.
And long story short, my wife's best friend, her father was a racing driver, professional racing driver at one point in his lifetime, and he had a big community of friends and what have you, and we went and we joined their convoy going down to Le Mans. I was the poor citizen in that convoy, I can promise you, because there was 4 F40s,
Wow.
Testarossas. You think of not every, but many of the supercars we all look at and, drool over, envious of. I think there was 18 supercars, and then little old me, and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, and I say 4 of these F40s, and excuse me, I just fell in love with them. And it's been a dream car ever since. Now, could I remotely afford one? No, I think the last one was sold for 1.4 million.
I was going to ask you if you've driven one, but
I haven't actually. I've sat in one, but on a Ferrari track day once, but you weren't allowed to drive it around the track. But I have sat in one.
It seems you don't necessarily want to put a 1.4 million pound with.
No, I don't know what.
I'm not saying you can't drive, obviously.
And I don't have 1.4 million to spend on one either. So I will, with great honour, place that on the shelf.
Perfect.
And forevermore may it sit there.
Amazing. Well, that's it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to spend time with you.